Okay, Bruchim Abayim Rabotai, welcome. Today's shir is a follow-up about showering on Yom Tov, part 3. We already gave 2 parts. That was good 50 pounds ago, so it's time for a recap and a continuation. So basically, just to summarize what we had last time, it came out that there's lots of misinformation about showering on Yom Tov, as in, yeah, it's that's true. But as it was a greasy topic at that as well. So, as we came out, basically, as most things I've researched, there's misinformation about almost everything I've come across. I'm lucky that I didn't research too many topics. Otherwise, I won't have, it'll probably be hard for me to, eat, etc., relying on shkachas. But the Bible, I didn't go into kashrut yet. But with regards to showering, so there's lots of misinformation about that nowadays things change. So let's just get a basic recap. What we said is 2 shittas Rishonim very important. The shittas Haramban, shittas HaTosfos. Shittas HaTosfos is more well known. So we'll start with that first. That is that he says in the times of the Gemara, showering was not shavel chol nefesh, and that was why there was an issur. So people want to think nowadays perhaps it is shavel chol nefesh, which I think is a very strong argument that can be made. I agree to that. So it should be different. The times have changed. Nowadays you should take a shower. We're discussing a regular hot shower, obviously a hot shower on Yom Tov. So the problem with that, as we spoke about in the part 2, is that Chazal astered even water that was heated up on Erev Yom Tov. So, even though the original Isser was because, even though the Isser Deraisa was not Shavach on Avish, there's a special Isser Derabanan, even if you're not heating up the water. Now, the reason for this Isser Derabanan was because the Pashas Kontais, the Chazal were afraid you were coming to heat up the water on Yom Tov. But Al Kapanim, there is an Isser Derabanan. So, according to Tosfos, even though now there's a Shavach on Avish, but you still have an Isser Derabanan, and we finished off last time that even though the reason of the Isser shouldn't apply, this is very important. They asked it because even if you heat up the water on Erev Yom Tov, they were afraid you would come to heat up the water on Yom Tov. Which those days heating up water on Yom Tov wasn't Isser Deraisa, since it wasn't Shavach HaNefesh, so you're cooking or according to Tosfos. So nowadays heat up Yom Tov water should be Isser Deraisa. So the reason that the Xer shouldn't apply, but we finished it last time, which I thought was a very simple, straightforward rule that Ein Bezdin Yochel Vat Liv Bezdin Chaverei Elam Ken Gadol Men Chacham V'Minyan. In other words, even if the reason doesn't apply, the Xer should apply. Now this is what we're going to talk about at length. This exact point is the subject. But before I continue with that, I just want to say over the Ramban. The Ramban and many other Rishonim, they hold that even in times of Chazal, it was always Shavach chol nefesh. Not only that, the Pri Megadim, a lot of Acharim and Pashas, Shittas Rambam is not only, you don't even have the comment to me, Toich, showering is Eichel nefesh mamish. Tzarech haguf, it's mamish, it's like eating. So according to the Ramban, the Isser was always only the Rabban, it was never a Deraisa. So according to and what was Pshat in the Isser, we ended up saying over there, the Pashas you would have to say is like the Shita in Beya, that the Isser is not only because you're afraid to heat it up, because there's nothing wrong with heating it up. Isser would be because we're afraid to come to do Schita or other Isur. So according to the Ramban, this makes it very crystal clear, nothing changed ever, now 1,000 years ago. According to the Ramban, there's no way out of this. Showering is Asr, nothing.
Correct?
Yes.
Today there's like a new movement, the Shabbat clock and the Shabbat this and the Shabbat toothbrush. Perhaps we can say the times have changed now. They'll come with a new Shabbat anti-Shchita kit.
If they come up with ways to anti-Shchita kit, perhaps, but it's very unlikely because it's very hard to get around. The guy takes a shower and he comes out and here's wet. So what are you going to do? It's very hard. You have to forget. Because even if we're going to come any Heter, Aver might be able to change. It's not a new Heter, that's a Heter which was around those days. But Shulchan Aruch says Aver is Asr if the water was heated on Yom Tov. So Aver shouldn't be a Heter if we were dealing with water was heated on Yom Tov. I think it'll be even the Ramban. I didn't go over this point right now. The Isser, well, even if there's still Xer Skita, I guess. And once it's Xer, it's Xer. I didn't go over this right now. And again, I just want to bring out that the showers nowadays, the pashtus, this is what we came out last time, though there are people that may argue, it's water that's heated up on Yom Tov. Even though the boiler was heated up on Erev Yom Tov, when you take the shower, the hot water and cold water are mixing together, so you're heating up the cold water. We're not dealing with Bטלה right now. Although, with deep respect for your dear brother-in-law, Rav Dubi Shnita, who decided that you're not heating up the cold water, you're really freezing the hot water, but we're dealing over here with stories that actually are understandable to mortals like ourselves. I don't deal with Chinese lumnus. Now, moving right along. So, according to Ramban, it's us. Now, Shabbos, what about a Tosfos? Chayra. If there's Xer Derabanan, so it's not clear if it's Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch doesn't really say who. Mokan Avraham explains like Tosfos. But it doesn't. I don't think it's first in Shulchan Aruch which way. But we're looking for a heter. So any sheet you'll find me a heter, we're good to go. So For argument's sake, if Ramban is not going to work, so we'll just work with Taisus, right? We're trying to find the heaven. So the shaila is, do you say, if the reason doesn't apply, the reason of the Gzer, because Chacham acid showering, they're afraid to heat up the water. In the times of Chazal, heating up water was a deraisa. Because it wasn't a Shabbos Nefesh. Nowadays, there's no deraisa, so is the Isser button automatically? So it should seem to be a clear-cut Mishnah in Adius that says, you're not allowed to do it, and even if the reason doesn't apply, as it's brought down as well in Masechet Beya. You take away the malacha of the deraisa, but the Chacham still asks you to take a bath on Shabbos, even if the water, even if it was heated on Erev Yom. Exactly. Now you take away the malacha, but the Shabbos does not make a difference because L'maisa Gered, the Gzeira is still the bath.
Well, no, today
Heating water was right, even the water wasn't fresh. Right, they went so high, you can't do it.
That's what you're supposed to heat it up in there. This is what you can't
use
take
water
a bath on Yom Tov across the board. That's all. The reason was whatever. That's the reason. Once they made the Gzer, You're saying it was tuffle to the heating. It's very not mistaber because the etzem rechitza wasn't a ma'aseh of heating. Okay. Now the Rosh and Beya Siman Perik Aleph Siman Gimel. Kol davar shebaminin sarach min yachal atirei. The chsiv leichem lahem is going to Gemara shul lachem aleichem. That they give him a special hat to shul lachem aleichem. Pirush davar shenigzav b'minin chachamim ve'ira davar sheyiduah ve'ira something which is good. Ve'ira davar sheyiduah shehagzera b'tela. Something happened that the gzera should be bottled. Goyin sheyiduah me'ez tam nigzera gzera. But it's a very important words. You know why the gzera was nigzar.
whose words are
These are the Rosh. This is Rosh and Beya Siman Gimel. The oisei hatam bottloi. Right? It sounds mamish like our case. The reason doesn't apply. Afilu hachi eina b'telo ad shenimnu alel chachamim v'yitiruah. That's it. Straight halacha. It sounds very, very simple.
Could be the Gzer is only chal on water that was heated up Erev Yom Tov.
Like I said, the reason.
heat up on Yom Tov. That's the issue. They didn't make Gzer.
Oh, you said the Gzer was never. The Gzer wasn't on the water heated up. Yeah. I mentioned this in my last year. I mentioned this before, but it's very unlikely.
Don't want to
be just the Gzer.
You wanted that it should be.
Right. So I mentioned this far. That was the only asset Erev on there. But the problem with that is that first of all, you're usually using water that was heated on Erev Yom Tov as well. In other words, the boiler was heated on Erev Yom Tov, so you're not going to solve that problem. You have to heat it. You have to boil it. No, where's hot water coming from? Okay, yeah, I don't think it's so simple. But second of all, it's unlikely that they made such a Gzer.
Once you take away the actual malacha.
Okay, we spoke about this in the last one. Okay, I think that's a very short as far. You want to say?
Right.
Even our guys would be what they need.
No, because you guys saying two different svars. Oh, you guys say two different things.
Well,
Chief Rabbi Hanak is saying this far that they only asked her Erev Yom Tov because Yom Tov they didn't have to ask her because it was also Midei Raisa. That's what you're saying?
So there's no Gzer on that. Now you just need it down today.
Okay.
So I'm locking
So
out
we spoke about it. I would refer you to my previous-
We heat up water today.
Even if it's not a malacha today, but if you say it's still there.
Yeah, but there is no Gzer on heating water on Yom
no
Tov.
Gzer
The Gzer
on
was
water.
on the water that was heated Erev Yom Tov.
That's a separate thing. That's a new svar. He's saying even if I'm right,
Oh, you're saying
two different
You didn't
svaras.
originally say like me?
No, two different svaras.
No.
Oh, two different svaras. No, you want to say even bismanas. I used to want to say bismanas that there's a chiluk between different types of gzeros. Yeah, can't tell you that the chazal make, but if you take away the malacha, then there's no gzera. Right. In other words, if the malacha is a dayan kayim, in other words, the svara from the svara that you're not ossi, then it was ossi. These days it's not ossi. But the malacha is, you take away the whole malacha.
So this one
Right.
I think that's totally incorrect.
I didn't have what Rashi was saying.
Because these are the cases of. I think that's what I understood.
Yeah, I'm saying you need to have
Okay, I think that's incorrect. We'll have to go through all the Makaras, which will bring
We'll
soon.
go through Makar.
But I'm not going to go through. I'm not going to do this. I'm just saying. The Rosh says if you batlas Gzeira, it's very complicated. It's very complicated svar to say that because the Isser is the Rechitza. It's not really a malach. I can hear you svar maybe if they answered. In other words, let's say heating up warm water wouldn't be. I was heating up the tube, a teeny bit. They would say that's included in heating. It's like here it's a tuffle. But here the Isser was the Rechitza. So it's hard to say the rechitza is part of the malacha of bishul. It's two separate things. Now your svara, you saying Gzer is only on Erev Yom Tov. We spoke about that last time. I think it's a bad svara as well because Pashtas, the Gzer was you cannot be roichetz on Yom Tov. Period. Okay. Now, in other words, it's not. The Asvach, then you say, hey, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Okay, maybe. Listen, I said it's Actually, very bad. No, it's very bad tomorrow. It's very bad tomorrow. Because that's okay. Let's read the Rambam.
Then you need an Xero because you're going to come. Every Xero is going to come to the Avera. These days you don't come to the Avera. People don't come.
Difference because what's the difference?
Much more.
But
forget about here. You come to you still come to the Zach, but the Zach is mutter.
But why does that make a difference if the rabbi said it's us? That's the Rosh saying. If the reason doesn't apply, I don't care why the reason doesn't apply. It doesn't apply because you're standing on your head. It doesn't apply because they invented lenses.
No, because the rabbis made.
They're made exact. They said thou shall not.
They made there for Isser. Now, some days you could come to the Isser, some days you don't come to the Isser.
Fine. I think that's what I'm making. It's completely ridiculous. Now, let's go to Rambam. The Rambam says you're not allowed to. I don't know who's shushing us over there. It's fine. Yeah, let them shush. It's fine. Now let's go to the Rambam. You need to be. It can't be. It can't be batel exera. Where are we holding? Here. You need to be golden b'chachma. This is beis and mammon. The minion of Alei B'chacham Eino Yochel Levatel is Dvarov Afilu Batel Tam Shebdegloloi Gozru Harishonim Oy Hiskinu Ein HaAchreinim Yichayim Levatel Ad Sheyu Gedalim Hem. You got to be bigger. So nowadays, perhaps we have a bezin here that's taka more chashav than Chazal. But the Rambam is saying, as a general rule, even if the reason doesn't apply, it's too bad. Now once we're at according to Rabbi, we got a Rosh Rambam straight out. If the reason doesn't apply, they don't make chilukim. The reason doesn't apply. They're not giving lumdus. They're giving a fact. The reason doesn't apply. I don't care why it doesn't apply. Now the Ravid got the eyes to Rambam over here in a separate prat. He says that you don't have to. A bezdin can be mevatel it even if they're not godel the chacham of a minion, as long as they know the reason doesn't apply. If they know the reason doesn't apply, you can get any bezdin to come together. Now this is actually the Mishnah Yankov in his sefer Kilas Yankov. He's a big arichas. He's a very big fan of the Ravid. He brings on a bunch of rayas, which you could argue on all of them. That basically, any yeshivas bezdin, so if today you'll have yeshivas bezdin getting together, and they'll say, we matter showers. So according to the Ravid Yeshmal Ismaich, I don't think any bezdin got together. I don't think anyone has the Ravid says that a bezdin could be aikr the takana if the reason doesn't apply anymore, even if they're not godel chachmut minyan. So when do you have what? I got to do it. Okay, I'm not trying to get it. But I didn't know that's probably if the reason does apply. If they disagree. They just disagree on the zero. But if the reason changed, I'm assuming that's fair. So according to the Ravid, Yeshua Malismay, but I don't think anyone's going to get together today and tell you that making Shiva's best in the frat because you don't know for sure the reason of Chamos. They might have had Schita as well. So the Shaila is the Chayr. It's pretty clear. It's a pretty clear cut case that should be answered, but it's not clear at all. Let's go through a few cases in Chazal. Now the Teres Chesed, who is a big favorite of our Shir.
According to the
Ravid, I'm only being matter if there will be yeshivas better today. If Rabbi Fuhrsheimer and Shlomo Miller and another whoever get together and sit down and they say, we are hereby declaring the Chazal Chazal void, which I don't think they'll do in a million years, no matter how much you're bribing them, I don't think they're going to do that. If you'll be yeshivas bezdin, and they'll know for sure. First of all, they can't do it. Maybe. If they do that. I'm sure we're on video over here. He's talking about. So, I don't know. Some people get a little out of hand of it. So if we're, should I start again from the beginning? So if there'll be Yeshivas Bezdin, then maybe it would be much according to the right. I don't think Bezdin will do that. First of all, no one's going to do this thing. Second of all, because there is a shittas, like we said, the Ramban holds that showering is for us. So which Bezdin is going to get together and say it's void? Like Tosfos, if they don't know, maybe the Ramban is true. If you want to see, you can rely on Tosfos. Now, if Teres Chesed is in Siman Yud Zayin, or he means a lot of different cases. Now, time is short. We got stuck discussing things, but he brings down a bunch of different cases. Let's start with a simple case. We know that the Mayim Megulin is Aser, so that's because of Nachash. Tosfos mentions that nowadays there's no Nachash, we're not Makbid. That's the Ramah Pastas and Places Shenim. I'm going to go a little quick now. Okay, there's no sakana. Shabbos what do you mean? Chacham masid it. Now Taisus, and let's go drop further. Now Taisus also Taisus in the Vayzor in Daf Lamed Hey explains that he goes Venus Nachram and Yain Nesach as well. Stam Yin, and he gives cases if the minig is not to be menasech. So the Chari you would see from here a kasha on this side. Let me just read you the Taisus on Lamed. If they got, I don't know if it's actually. If they did, I don't know if they did. But let's if you say they actually got together those issues. But Taisus and Avodah Lamed Hey explains that. Loy osru elo b'mochem shanachoshin mitzuyim. Kimoi shafarish legamon gabe yayin nesach. So, Teres Chesed brings on this. He says, if b'shas the Gezerah there was a certain hechatimta that the Gezerah didn't apply to, he takes it further. He goes to the case of tachshitin. Otherwise, let's say you find the case of tachshitin, you're not allowed to wear tachshitin because you might be taken off. So, Teres mentions the svara. Nowadays, people don't show it off. First of all, nowadays, today, I think they do, but I guess in Teres times, ladies weren't showing. So crazy to take off with tachshitin. I don't know if it's like the crazy plan. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Akmatay says just worse. So he says if there was a Gemara says Isha Chashuva is not the derech to show. So he says as long as there was a hechatimtza during Chazal, there was an exception to the rule. So nowadays that's included in the exception. So you could get around a lot of cases with this svar. In other words, if there was some sort of exception to the rule. But I don't think that works for showering. I was thinking showering they made an exception for what? What kind of exception? Maybe a Mazia or Aver. I mean, it's not. Maybe since it made Aver, but I don't think it really. I mean, it could be you could try. I don't think that's going to work. Now, the main heter for this case, which is a shvar heter, but where do we find a case that's like a bona fide, just knocking out Xeris Chacham? That is, are you allowed to dance or clap? The Gemara says you're not allowed to dance or clap. The Gemara says Emetavkin or Naktin. The Gemara says nowadays people do it anyways. We don't give a hoot. Okay, Mutav Shu Shagin. I think that's the one. Hani Yishon Mutav Shu Shagin. That's the Gemara says. So Dominic Gordy when times comes up. Don't tell the guy because right. That's why nowadays we clap. I don't tell you anything. That was one of the reasons. But Taisa says, Pirush Rashi Misakin Klishir Miu Vidan Shari. The Dafka be Meyan Shayu Bekian Las is Klishir Shaykh Lemigzer. Avoidon Eno Bekian Las is Klishir. The Loy Shaykh Lemigzer. We don't know how to bring a sakin to Klishir. I'm not sure if the sakin means fix or make a new one. But in whatever cases we don't know how to do it. So the Shaila is this case. Was there a special? There was no exception to the rule in times of Chazal. So where did the Chacham get the koyach to do such a thing? Now the Beis Yosef asked this kasha, and he says Tosfos is comparing this to the case of Giloy in these types of cases. But Ulach trying to point out what's the shaykh? Ramesha, he goes, he's fuming about this. Ramesha and Archam Chel Beis, Siman Tov. So, wait, I know, but like we explained, I'm not sure Ramesh gives different ones. Ramesh gives different ones. But let's say the ones we were just saying by Giloy is that as long as Taisa says by Giloy that at the time of the Gezerah it only applied in certain places where there was things. But yes, I don't think that's Ramesh's one. Right. Unless you want to say the Gezerah only applied in certain places. Yeah. So Ramesha doesn't say that one. Teres Chesed definitely asks that. He asks it like there. Ramesha, he doesn't like it at all. It's an Archaim Tel Beis Siman Tov. Which the Beis Yosef, but he doesn't pass it like that. The Beis Yosef Shulchan Aruch actually says it's usher to dance. The Ramah brings down this after of Tosfos. Now Ramesha is still Shuva. Siman Tov. He says what's going on? L'chayr divrei had Tosfos tmuin. Afim neima should be a mehen hoyu b'kiyan lasis klishir yoyisib mizman hazeh. First, he's the mashmak, he doesn't like the old days. Those days, they're saying, yeah, I understand. Agaparomi, Achashan Esther B'minyan, Ein Lehatir, Av, She, Kol, Hatam, and Bottle, Kid the Isa, B'dafei, and Beya. The Kolskin, Achas, Gambi, Yemeno, Hadika, Gambi, Shebekin. It's not true. There are people that are above me. So Ramesh is fuming. What's going on? This Tais doesn't make any sense. So Ramesh is cynical. I'm not sure I understand him correctly. But it seems to me he's making I'm not even going to say the whole thing, it's going to take too long. But if I understand him correctly, he's only saying Pesach only applies in the case of Klishir, where the Gemara in the first says that even in the times of Chazal, no one was makbid. So he gives us Asfara, if no one's makbid on it, and the reason I'm clapping with that, the Gemara says, he says, then it's Asfara of Loinis Pashta Xer. Even though Xer wasn't Pashta originally, but if he makes a Zachon, that's similar to the case I guess it's similar. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make sushi. No, he's not. It's like Lenis Pashtak there. if Chacham made a Gzera and the Gzera was never accepted, the Gzera doesn't. It's
Where
not
is
Shabbos.
that mentioned that it wasn't a spasha?
The Gemara over here says Mutu Shishang La Yimzina. No, it wasn't Nishpash. No. It wasn't. No, it wasn't Nishpash in the times of Taisus. That's what he's trying to say. In the times of the Gemara, it wasn't Nishpash. It was definitely Nishpash originally. Otherwise, the Gzera would never be Chal. But obviously, times changed. In other words, if it was never Nishpash, then the Gzera was never Chal. That's all. The Gzera is Nishpash. But he's saying if Yemenu was not Nishpash, everyone's being over. So and the time is bottled. So Moshe makes an interesting thing, and he fears that they don't have it over here.
Why did Martin say what if she
No, so it wasn't the Spasha. It definitely wasn't the Gemara. Yeah, it wasn't the Spasha. And in times of the Gemara, the reason applied.
It's funny that you say what if she when you say that. Like,
And you can, yeah, but that's a whole different thing. Different sugya, whole different sugya. Huge sugya. Huge sugya. Yeah, that's huge sugya.
That's what gets them inspired.
Right.
So you can't stop the Bobby Jacobson.
Right, no. Mudu Yisheg is a big sugya, but that's not what we're discussing now. But upon Ramesha fears his damned, he says, your Baal Nefesh is definitely not clap because he says his heter is very, very, very shver. It's like I said, it's a shver heter, it's against Chazal. But Maisi, you can't be Moich on this particular, you can't be Moich because the Maisi have Taisvit. So, according to Ramesha, I don't think it would apply. If I understand Ramesha correctly, I would advise all my listeners to check Ramesha or Chaim Beis Kuf. I might be misunderstanding it, but that's what it seems to me he's saying. According to him, I don't think it would apply for showers. Now let's go to the Teres Chesed himself. How does he go for Taisvus? He says a very interesting thing. He brings other eyes as well. He says, the Chuvas Rush. This is a case of, like we brought the Rush himself, he's the one that's answering this. But he himself says in a case of Betzim Chacham Asik wearing Pishton in Tzitzis because we're afraid he'd come to climb. We're afraid he'd come to wear a bag of Pishton, afraid he'd put kids, you can put Klein without Chelis, you can put Pishton, whatever, Summer Pishton without Chelis. The Rush says nowadays it's not a problem, because nowadays, since we don't have Chelis, no problem is we put Chelis, which was in December, even if we don't have Chelis nowadays, then you can't be Geyser B'chal. So the Rush, even though the Chacham made a Gzeira not to wear tzitzis of Pishtim, so if the Rush, that Gzeira does not apply nowadays, you hear what we're telling you? The Gzeira doesn't apply nowadays, because you don't have Chelis. In fact, the Rush, the kivon shetam va'isr yodua im nizbatel atam botel va'isr mimelo. Azoi zok the Rosh. So this is a massive heter which could very likely apply to showering. Tama isr yodua. I'm not sure because everyone knows, but like I said, the Ramban, some Rishonim hold the isr wasn't al shol. The isr was because you might come to skita. Is that called Tam Isra Yedua? I'm not even sure. In other words, I don't even know this. I don't know. We say, is it so clear it's Tam Isra Yedua? I'm trying to say, you know exactly what the Chacham were thinking that. So the guy was saying, Teres Chesed. Right. What I mean to say is that, who said that's the, I don't know if that's the real reason even. I'm trying to say maybe there were more things involved. Let me just figure out that Teres Chesed is fine. It's something to deal with. This is the. I know, but even in Taisvus, you don't really know. Okay, fine. Let me just finish what the Teres Chesed. Yeah, fine. This rush would be this far. Basically, you want something to deal with. This is the rush, which is going to be a makar for you heter. You guys want to go take a shower. Now, let me just clear his Teres Chesed. You can argue with him. He just says Mikol Makar. He brings a lot of other things. One of the very, very funny case, which you would think is a right to care. The Teres Chesed is right the other way around. The Gemara says, why do we keep you up to Sheni? Either reason doesn't apply. So, it's right that. Teres Chesed, I'll show you Teres Chesed in a second. He gives a different Agadar. He'll be my final. He asks, what about that? So Teres Chesed means right. Because the Gemara asks by Yom Sheni, why do we do it? And the Gemara Shem Yaakov Zadav L'Kulei or something like that. So basically, so he says there also is a Teres Chesed. The Gemara needed it, but it's not a right to rush, right? From the Gemara, why did the Gemara ask? Why do we do it? What do you mean? Ain't doesn't Yachal Avatul. So now the Teres Chesed right from the Gemara to the rush, but he fears like this. Very shmacker, right? But he fears like this. Mikol Makim Ein Lo Lachriya Midaitenu. Lishko b'sechlenu ezig zera chashav atam yedua ve'ezig chashav en yedua ve'ein lanu el dvarim mufurashim divrei harishonim she'atam yedua v'ter gzera mil shamatan. Teres Chesed says very clearly, in his opinion, you could argue, but he says you cannot say you can't do it yourself and decide. It's a slippery slope when you get Chana Chacham and Gzera doesn't apply. If the Rishonim says something good, if not, not. So according to Teres Chesed himself, showering would be asur because he says since the Rishonim never mentioned it. Now, even though the Teres Chesed says that, you definitely have something to work with, which will be this rush. Now, I just want to theorize the Teres Chesed. He asked this kasha, like you said. There's many more cases, by the way. Check the Teres Chesed, Simon Yed Zayin, or Chaim. He does a phenomenal job bringing them many Maramakim from this. Now, the first Yisrael in 80 is Perak Aleph, Mishnah something. Boyaz, he basically says his own Gedara. He says anything the Isser is because of Siyag, you're going Basar Oif, and if then the reason is Batal, like Sami, and then once the reason is Batal, I'll explain instead what a Siyag is, then the Isser is Batal as well. The reason is Batal, the Isser is Batal. But anything which is Shash, then if it's Siyag, then the Isser stays. If it's Mishum Chash, then if the Sibah is Batal, Isser is Batal. I explain what's the difference. The Chum were afraid the guys be ever something amazing. There's different types of Xeris. The Chum were afraid people might come to do this by accident. You find plenty of those Xeris, you give examples. And there's Xeris were afraid people are going to do something amazing. So if the Chum were afraid people are going to do something amazing, then if the reason is Batal, the Xeris is still Batal. So if according to him, taking a shower was a clear, I'm pretty sure in the Gemara was a problem of amazing. We were afraid people coming to heat up water. It doesn't sound like, it wasn't a shegi. It wasn't like people getting confused. Let's say basar oif, people get confused with basar b'cholov, right? With basar behema, those are people making mistakes. So there he says, what's basar tam? If the time is batal, everything is batal. But if we're afraid people coming to do b'mezid, then it'll still apply. So according to Tzeres Yisrael, it's in Parak Aleph, Mishnah, Vav, and Boyaz, showering will be asur. Because the Isser, the Chacham Mei, were afraid people are going to come to heat up water b'mezid. That was the reason. So even though batal atam, like batal atakana. There's a lot more to say. I'm falling asleep. So we'll just end here. And like I said, Aver is not much of a heter. It was heater and everything. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Okay, we'll stop here. Okay, fine. Shia, thank you all for listening. Yeah.